Sean, we'll have a quick overview of the club starting on the pitch. You must be very proud of the quality and the fight you've seen from the team.
Yeah, I think 2024 has been a good year. Okay, so far we've played 2 competitions, not come away with any silverware, but I think we can all hold our heads really high with the performances that's been out on that pitch. To get to within a whisker of qualifying for the T20s, I think we were beat by Moeen Ali on that day. That was hard to take, but you got to look at the positives. I think great performances through the T20 campaign, and then you look at the one day stuff again. Defending champions. I always think it's harder for a team to win the trophy again, having won it the previous year. People want to knock you off your perch, and I think the lads did outstanding really to get us to the semi-final, and beaten that day maybe by 2 ex-Leicester lads that we took on loan, Lewis and Mr. Green, that kind of outdid us really. But we were close again, and I think the performances we've put in have all been excellent, and then we of course going to county championship, still in the race. So to be competing on 3 competitions, I think is a great achievement and real progression for Leicestershire County Cricket Club.
Yeah, there perhaps would have been in the past a sense of being happy, the happiness to be involved in the conversation, being in a win away. And this year, the immense disappointment of missing out. Does that show the progress that the club's taken in the past few years?
Yeah, I think so. The acid test for me was actually one of the players. I won't name his name. He came into my office and he said, "We believe here now. When we take to the field, we think we can win." And he said, in years gone by, it was kind of like, well, we're just turning up really, but now there's a real belief. And I think, I often talk about culture and the mindset that we have. And I think that's great now. We've got that here, and you can actually feel it around the crowd as well. So expectations go up a little bit, and we've got to keep matching those. We've got to keep developing those. And our MO is all about progression. We want to progress. And as I've sort of said in the letter that I recently published, and I'm sure we'll talk about that, is we want to progress. We want to develop. We want to go forward. We want to win more silverware. So the desire and the passion and the mindset and the culture is all there.
And we'll get on to that letter in a moment. Just before we do, one more on the pitch. It's obviously been driven by Alfonso Thomas and James Taylor as the backroom staff, the experienced core that we've got, Lewis Hill, Peter Hanscom, Ajinkya Rahane, and then the young guys we've seen, the likes of Rayan Ahmed, Josh Hull, now Alex Green as well in that mix. Is this the most exciting blend of squad-wise you've seen?
I think so. I mean, in my short-term time as here as CEO, I think it's really quite mouth-watering what we're sort of seeing happening in front of our eyes, and that blend, as you talk about, with the overseas players as well, like Peter Hanscom, bringing that quality in, and the younger lads learning. I could name loads of names, and I think every player out there is contributing to Leicestershire County Cricket Club. And against the backdrop of all the injuries we've had this year, I think that's an amazing achievement what they've done out there. And I think the foundations to that are things like the pathway and the academy, and Alex coming into the team.
Green bowls again, and that's going to be a wicket. That's going to be the first wicket for Green, and indeed it is.
That demonstrates what's happening in that part of the business as well. So yeah, I think we've got a great, strong foundation of where we can really kick on to now. You look at the coaching setup, the science of medicine, the academy, even the women's sort of side of things now evolving. Our cricket pillar, I'm proud to say, is in a great place, and it wants to go forward. That's the key for us.
And on the open letter that we saw you published this week, the essence of it being the necessity to grow membership at Leicestershire. Why is that so important?
Yeah, it's huge. We want to compete, and I think we've got short of 1,000 adult members at the club. I think the number is 850, something like that. that we need to double that. We need to get more people in, and it's like any business, any sports club, like Leicester City, Leicester Tigers, they'll always want more members, and I think that's what we've always sort of said. If we can get more members and supporters of Leicestershire County Cricket Club, that money that would come in would be reinvested. And for us to progress, we need to invest more. We need to invest in certain parts of the business that mean we can progress. And that's where we're at. So we need, and that's the whole essence of my letter here, is that we're at this kind of crossroads, really. And Leicestershire, my shout to Leicestershire is, where do you want to go? We can continue fighting and battling and doing what we're doing, and as we say in these parts, foxes never quit, without question. But do you want us to kick on a little bit now? Well, if you do, come down, back this club, invest in this club, put your little bit of investment by buying a membership into this club. That will go a long way for Alfonso, Claude, all the players, go a long way. And the women's side as well, let's not forget that. We want to develop that. So that investment will help this club progress. And then if we have that investment, then the sky's the limit. You know, we proved we can win a bit of silverware 2 years ago. We proved we can compete. So just imagine, we double our membership, that investment that comes in, wow. You know, we can really kick on as a club and develop parts of the ground here as well.
And the reward for that membership, obviously, is to watch the team flourish, as we've seen this season on the pitch, but also the women's side of things evolving now with Tier 2, more opportunities to play down here. How big a factor is that for the club?
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? I think, you know, it's really exciting having the Tier 2 cricket team. I, of course, wanted Tier 1. We didn't get that. Very frustrated and very angered by that. But hey, we're in Tier 2 now, so we've got to aim to get to Tier 1. For us to get to Tier 1, we need people. That's obviously going to cost us money to sort of develop that sort of side of the game, and that's fine. So that's why we need our membership to increase as well. If we can get the membership increase, that then goes into that part of the game. We want to develop the academy more. So again, all these kind of progressive plans require investment. And that's where we're at as a club. We've eked as much as we can out, and it's now time for Leicestershire to go, do you know what? I've seen enough, Leicestershire. I'm backing you. I'm going to support you. Or I'm going to put some money in to help the women and girls game as well. And we're playing as many games as we can down here next year, so there'll be more cricket. Of course, with that comes additional costs. So we need the membership out there, the fan base out there to come forward and back this club.
You talked also about the existing fan base in your letter, obviously being very loyal, very passionate. What can those guys do to help to spread the word and grow the game?
Yeah, you know, credit to them. And I've got to know a lot of them over the past few years. Tremendous. And as I sort of said, incredibly loyal. And they've been so superb, supportive of the club. And seeing them on the travels to Durham, to Taunton, you know, I can't sing their praises enough, but we need more of them, really. And that's the whole point. As I sort of said, we as a club are incredibly thankful for what they do for Leicestershire. But having more just means we get bigger, better, stronger, more competitive, and who knows, more silverware in the cabinet.
Another hot topic alongside membership has been the streaming. We've trialled the paid-for service. Just explain a little bit about, you know, why we trialled that, the data you've seen, and how that might look in the short term and long term.
Yeah, dead right. Yeah, it was a controversial one, and we had a chat as a commercial and marketing team. Do we try this? Do we experiment with this? And we, of course, having Ajinkya Rahane here opens up to quite a big audience in South Asia. So it was an experiment, and continues to be an experiment for us to just understand it better on the number of people that are buying into streaming. So we had, I think it was about 150 the first time round, 350 for the quarter-final game, which you'd expect to increase. So that was interesting numbers. Of course, we got the 2 county championship games here at the Upton Steel County Ground. that we'll look at and monitor as well. And then I think in the close season we'll take a view as to what route we're going to take. It's been great seeing it on social media and seeing people giving me constructive thoughts. Some people disagree with it. Some people have said they can understand it. You know, so I think we've got to now reflect on that and actually go, right, well, we've heard you, we've listened to you. This is the model we're going to go going forward. I know the commercial team are in dialogue with potential sponsor. That, of course, would help. But we as a club have always got to be conscious of our economics. What are our finances? And it's sometimes balancing it out between what the cost might be around the streaming versus the viewing figures, and how can they both help the bottom line for Leicestershire. And I think doing this experiment has been a real eye-opener for us. And yeah, you know, close season, we'll sit back, reflect on it, and then come up with our decision how we go forward around that.
And as you find the club's position now with different areas to balance, how do you assess the long-term future of Leicestershire?
Yeah, the long-term future, there's no doubt. The short-term future is tough, it's hard. You know, we all know that our ground requires a lot of upkeep. It's an old facility that we've got to develop, and that's what we're working on, and I'll come to that in a moment. But, you know, the finances, the economics that we have here at Leicestershire County Cricket Club are incredibly tough. Costs just continue to rise. You know, equipment that we have here is old, it needs to be updated. We need to modernise the ground. All that takes money, all that takes costs, as well as we're having more cricket here. We want to progress as a club. So we need that supporter base, whether it be more corporates, whether it be more fans coming to Leicestershire County Cricket Club to help us progress. The medium longer term, I think is really bright. We own the land here and we're trying to do one or two things, and I would hope in the next couple of months we might sort of see a bit of news around what we're trying to do. We're working very hard behind the scenes to develop the ground. That doesn't happen overnight. You know, it can take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I was chatting to the guys at Sussex, and those plans down there took a long time to come to fruition. We're moving at a good pace. We're heading in the right direction. So we've got a short-term challenge, but I think the long-term, actually, with the right support, the right number of people coming to back us, the right kind of companies getting involved, I think is really quite exciting for Leicestershire County Cricket Club.